The children are our future. That's why it's important for us to invest in them and their development as individuals. Today, we will focus on the concept of mindfulness and how this teaches kids to focus on the present. Joining us right now to talk about this is Su Wang Yang, the founder of Mindful Circles, which provides mindful education to children, parents, and school teachers locally and around the world. Thank you so much, Su Wang, for spending time with me today. And it's just amazing to have an opportunity to learn from your philosophy as a teacher. Myself, I'm a teacher as well, but in different arena. I'm an entrepreneur. I teach people about entrepreneurship, sales, finance, leadership development. But I continue want to expand my learning curve where I want to learn from other people like yourself. So it's amazing to have you on my interview today. And I want to start off by asking you about the name of your organization, which is Mindful Circles, right?
Yes.
How does this relate to your philosophy and approach to mindfulness? Would you begin with that and share with the audience here?
Mindful Circles, as you can tell, the name is circles, and actually there are 4 circles. And the first circle is body awareness, which is green circle. I actually have the circles to share with you. This is how I talk to kids.
Sure.
And so the green circle represents the body awareness, blue represents the thought awareness, and red represents the emotion awareness, and yellow represents the love and compassion awareness. So that's why I call it the mindful circles, because as a human, we all have these 4 common awareness, right? You have a body, I have body.
Sure.
You have your thought, I have my thought, emotion, and love too. So to cover these 4 aspects of awareness, that's what Mindful Circle is trying to do. And the philosophy is based on, if I can share with you, it's like a triangle, right? Since I'm a Montessori teacher for almost 20 years, so it's very naturally for me to integrate Montessori education, kids education with the West mindfulness education. And I grew up in Asia, so I also I practiced meditation for many years. And so all these 3 angles, they actually all focus on body, thought, emotion, and love. They just explain and do it in different ways. So I integrate my experience and make it this Mindful Circles life education organization. And my goal is it's another triangle as a teachers, parents, and children. We can all practice mindfulness together.
Okay, so in the world of chaos, right? There's a lot of things going on, a lot of stress, and people's mind is just flying everywhere. Can you explain what mindfulness is and what benefits can it bring to families, schools, maybe to parents, and also maybe a guy like me as an entrepreneur?
Mindfulness is, let me put it this way. When we talk about being mindful, actually it's talking about the power of now. You know, so mindfulness is about now. And in our life, we often talk about the past, we talk about the future, but we don't really live in the present moment. And there's a famous book called The Power of Now. And then, so mindfulness education is trying to help people to gain their power back in this present moment. So mindfulness is something like what I just mentioned, is paying attention to what is happening. So as you ask me, what's the meaning of mindfulness? I would say mindfulness, just like the word, is very straightforward, right? If say mind is attending to the present moment fully, mindfulness is to pay attention to what is happening on the outside and the inside. And the inside means that we pay attention to what I'm thinking right now, what I'm feeling right now, what my body feels right now, and also what's my love, what's my value. And outside means where I am right now and how I relate to this surrounding around me. So for children's version, it's much easier. I basically tell the children pay attention to what is happening. And so this is easier for children to understand, and then they can apply to their daily life. And so every time when they are doing something, I say, oh, are you paying attention to what is happening? Did you see, are you angry right now? And what is happening when you feel anger? What do you think when you're so angry? What makes you so angry? And how do you feel, your body feel? And how does the emotion feel like to you? So that's how I explain mindfulness to people.
So from what I'm hearing, what you just shared, which I agree. Anyone who is too emotional cannot govern the country. Anybody who's too emotional cannot lead a company.
Right.
Anybody who's too emotional cannot lead their family. And with a lot of chaos, a lot of things happening in the world today, you know, people tend to get emotional very quickly. I mean, one of the most dangerous things that I tell people is the cell phone, right? Let's say you have an argument with one of your best friends, and all of a sudden your best friend says something to you that offended you. But instead of calm yourself down at the moment presently, if we didn't have a phone, guess what happened? After 30 minutes, you'll be like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Right.
And then after 1 hour, 2 hours, you'll be like, okay, let's talk about it. We move forward.
Right.
But this is very dangerous, right? Today,
exactly.
Because when you get too emotional, you're not living in the present. You get too emotional. Guess what? After that argument, you probably, a lot of people will send a text message and say something stupid and send it out because you're too emotional. So I agree with you being emotional. You know, we need to be vulnerable. We need to share with people our emotions from time to time. But I also met a lot of people that's over emotional, and that they let that emotion control their mind. And I think mindfulness has to do a lot with that. How do you control your emotion presently, not let it get out of hand, right?
Exactly.
And also you mentioned something about it is you talk about point fingers. I think that's the biggest problem in the society today, because a lot of people are blaming. They never look at the, mirror in front of them. What can I do to become better? What can I do to change? What do I need to improve on? But they're constantly looking outside of the window and say, that's your fault, that's your fault, that's your fault. And from what I'm hearing from you, mindfulness is also you gaining control of your mind and taking full responsibilities of improving your well-being, improving your mind, improving your heart, and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a parent, it is so important for me that my children get the best education in school. You know, how does mindfulness fit in with all the things they have to learn as they grow up?
I think we have been missing something very important called the mental health. You know, and so what I think mindfulness is so important right now in our current education is because our schools right now, the current school right now, is teach children how to become successful. You know, they think if you get a certain degree, then you have a good job, and then your life will be guaranteed. But let me put it this way: it's almost like an education, just to teach children how to earn the bread and butter, but we don't teach the children or guide them how to gain this happiness, which is such an essential point in our life. So, so to answer your questions, we all want to give the children our best education, right? So what is best education? Right now, we think the best education is you send your kids to the school, and then they will guarantee to go to the very good, university, and we consider that a good school. But I would say best education is a whole person education, which is we balance their academic development and their psychological development, and and so they will learn how to not only learn how to earn the bread and butter, but also most important thing is to have this happiness within them. So so that's why I want to share here is, again, we have to teach, we have to guide the children how to do it, not just tell them, oh, you should be happy. There's a way many ways, methods to teach children, to guide the children how to accept themselves, how to be aware and know and knowing themselves, and therefore they will learn how to know the other people better.
Yeah.
And that's what we call empathy, and that's possible to have a peace in the world in the future because it's compassion and love, and all start from this self relationship.
Okay. So recently you just published a new book,
Yeah.
and the name of your book is called The More You Play, The More You Can Focus. What do you hope to achieve with this book? I understand this book currently is in only Chinese language,
Yeah.
right? You got one is simplified Chinese,
Yes.
and you got one that's traditional Chinese.
Yes.
Okay. You know, what do you hope, you know, this book can do for people in this world?
Well, I would hope is this book, these two books are I have a series of books. As I mentioned, I have body, thought, emotion, and love, compassion, awareness.
Yeah.
And this first book is focused on body awareness. So this book, inside this book, I have 45 exercises for parents and children and teachers to learn. And this exercise from my years experience from teaching mindfulness, and so I see how much people benefit from that, from this approach. So I wanted this book to achieve is let the people know mindfulness is not just an idea. Mindfulness is not just a slogan like, life education is important. I think mindfulness, I want people to know that mindfulness is something can be practiced if we give them a certain method. And so guide the parents, the teacher, and children to know how to interact with each other.
Right.
So I want is just like Jack, let me put this way. If you want your children to learn Mandarin, right, you have to speak to your children to. You have to speak to your children in Mandarin.
Right.
And you may send her or him to the bilingual school and have a teacher there to speak Mandarin to your children. And eventually they will learn how to speak Mandarin.
Right.
Same thing to mindfulness. Mindfulness is not something abstract. And unfortunately, a lot of people think it's abstract because they don't know how to teach mindfulness at home, at school. But I want to say is, it's just like learning a language. If you want your children to know how to be mindful to themselves, the first, we have to be mindful to ourselves.
There we go.
Yeah, we have to
Love that.
speak that language so they can learn that language. And not only at home, also at the school. So that's why I want to say is, so the children will just surrounded by this environment. They look up their parents there. They have mindful parents at school. They have mindful teachers. So they know what mindfulness is. And this can be practiced. And unfortunately, right now, in the current world, we don't really have a curriculum for the children or teachers or even parents to follow and to have almost like provide them a stage for them to interact with their children based on love and compassion and mindfulness. And that's this book about,
Right.
provide the exercises for them to interact with each other.
You just talked about leadership there. There are a lot of thought leaders. There are a lot of thought parents. There are a lot of thought teachers, but very few are what I call show leaders. Very few is what I call show teachers. There are very few what we call show parents, right? So, in order for your kids to duplicate your behavior, your mindset, your skill set in every way, you have to show them, not just talk about it. And I totally a big fan of that, because you can talk about it, you can become a great speaker on stage, you can talk great publicly, you can be the most charismatic speaker in the world, But if behind the door you don't live by certain principles, I think the teaching is eventually become irrelevant, because your kids, the people that you're leading, the people that you're working with will eventually say, hey, this is a phony. This is not a guy or girl that I want to follow. That comes down with parents and kids relationship, right? So totally a big fan of what you just shared with me. Is you got to show, not just always teaching and just a thoughtful leader. And we need to be thoughtful. By the end of the day, it's also about showing on a daily basis of what you preach. Is it what you do behind the door?
Exactly.
Now let's continue with the next thing I want to learn from you is that in your book, you write about the importance of children being able to express their feelings, right? Yes. And not only express their feelings, but also express their feelings confidently, very confidently. Yeah. Now, why is that important? Now, how do you get a kid to express themselves? It's not the easiest thing to do. How and why is it important for them to express themselves confidently?
Okay, that's also a very good question. I have been teaching mindfulness for many years. And of course, I see these children have been practicing with me, how much they have grown. But the biggest thing I actually found out is the biggest difference between the mindfulness experienced children and the non-mindfulness experienced children is something very interesting. Is mindfulness experienced children, they are able to express their feelings more confidently. They are not shameful to express, oh, I'm angry, I'm jealousy. And
so they are vulnerable. They don't walk on eggshell. They let people know how they feel.
Yeah, because
they don't hold everything inside them.
Exactly, because they have very healthy relationship with the emotion. Unfortunately, a lot of time we say, oh, you should not be mad. You're okay. You'll get over it. Don't cry. But in mindfulness, it's about accept your emotions, right? Emotions like your friends. You don't say, I only choose certain friends. All the good friends, they'll have different contributions to you. And emotions, the same thing. They are like a good friends, even anger. Anger show me what's your limitation and what's your boundary. And that's also very healthy. So for example, let's say if the children can express her emotion or his emotion confidently, he or she actually have several good qualities in order to do that. The first, the child must know how to aware his or her own emotion, right? Awareness and accept. If they are able to express their emotion, they have to accept their emotion first, right? Confidently, right? They have to accept their emotion, and they are able to accurately their emotion and know how to express it. So this is, if someone can talk to you and express the emotion confidently, the person must have this quality, which is very important in life. And then if someone chooses to talk that to you, that means that person trusts you, right? You won't say you talk to people about your emotion, everybody. So this person must trust you and feel safe and secure with you. So if your children can tell you about his or her emotion confidently, and I think I'm a good teacher, you are a good father, we can say that way. Doesn't mean they will never get angry, never get jealousy, but that means they are able to accept the whole piece of them and share that with enough light.
Okay. So let's pivot a little bit about another question about kids. Not all the kids are willing to express their true feeling. Okay. Especially with social media today, a lot of kids, they like to compare themselves with certain things they saw on social media. And that's where the insecurity happens for most of the young kids. And the suicide rate goes up, skyrocket, because of what's happening in social media. There are a lot of kids, they don't want to express their feeling, their true feeling, to their own parents. And sometimes parents, you understand, they work 8 to 10 hours a day. They try to make the ends meet. They have to pay their mortgages. They go home. They say hello to their kids, and their kids lock themselves in in the room and they have dinner and then they repeat the next day the same thing. So in your opinion, what is the best way to encourage kids to express their feeling, their true feeling to their parents, especially for busy working parents?
Very good question. Well, what you just described, I think most of us now feel surprised, right? That's what is happening right now, right? Like a lot of children, they commit suicide, especially after I published this book in China, and I realized how many young kids, they may have a conflict with the parents, and they just jump into a river, jump from the bridge. They don't see the value of themselves. And I think the biggest challenge right now between the parents and the student, the parents and the children, or the children and the teacher, is the communication. And especially in this digital world, right?
Yeah.
Like exactly you just said, we don't know what they experience in social media. And then they may not show you. And so it's a very different world right now. You don't know what your children are experiencing.
Yeah.
And they may not always tell you what is happening, right? So it's kind of like a two different worlds, and how you gonna encourage your children to talk to you. And I would say, first, you show the role model. Again, back to what we just shared before. You have to start sharing your emotion, your life with your children. You know, you are not just ask them what happened. You can also share your life experience.
Right.
You can share with them your mistake. You can even share your anger.
I like that. I like that you share with your own mistake, own vulnerabilities.
And how you
how you
learn from
overcome it.
your mistake, right? And how you take care of your anger. So you encourage them by showing them role model. Be vulnerable, be real, and be open to your children. That's the first. And second, as we just share the role play, ask questions. You know, you don't tell them what to do. You're really curious about what they are doing, right? For example, your kids may come home and say, "Dad, I feel so be judged by people on the social media. It feels terrible." And then you may able to ask, "What do you mean being judged? Can you tell me more about that?" I'm really willing to listen. I'm very curious. What makes you so sad? Can you tell me more about that? Younger children may tell you more, but preteen or teenager, they may not. But it's okay. We don't need to say, "Just tell me," right?
Yeah.
You can just say, "I want to let you know, maybe you don't want to tell me right now. I respect that. But I want to let you know, I'm always here to listen. If you need me, I'm here to listen. I'm here to back up for you. But I'm here for you." So you need a patience, and you use a question and answer, meaningful question and answer strategy, and also most important, you open yourself to your children. You be real to them, and then they will know it's okay to share and won't be judged by you. You won't tell them, "Oh, that's okay," when dad tell you what to do. You just simply listen and walk with them, and they will slowly open up.
So any other advice for parents? You know, and again, I think in this busy working environment today, a lot of parents neglect their kids as they're growing up because they focus so much in their job, in their career. And what do you think are the most common challenges for parents today? And how can parents overcome these challenges?
Right. As you say, we are all very busy, right? If a parent can choose to spend most of the time with kids and also take care of his or her business, that's ideal.
Yeah.
But realistically, we have to spend a lot of time for work. So I think for parents, especially for parents, I would suggest to teach your children the value of work. A lot of children think, "Oh, my dad, my mom just work for money." They just, work not just for money. You can teach your children what is the value of the work. If you do something you love, and to do something to help the other people. So you may, like Jack, you are helping so many people. So you can share your value of your life, especially what you think about work. And you can say, when I'm with you, I really spend the quality time with you. And I am here to listen to you. I'm very attentive every time I'm available for you. But as you know, Dad also worked to help the other peoples. So that by saying so, your children will learn, have a big heart. Dad is out there not because just for money. Dad is out there for helping the other people. There are many people need help and support, and my dad's doing that. That's what your son told me. He look up at you by doing what you are doing. Yeah.
So, how can the audience in the world, get one of this book? I mean, you have a website. How do they order one?
Yeah.
And how do they order one of this book? How do they get hold of this copy? Because I believe in your philosophy. I believe in your teaching heavily. That's why I want to do this interview with you for a long time. And finally, we connected, right? So what would you say is the easiest way, the most effective way to get a copy of this book?
Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
For this book, it's in traditional Chinese character, so it's in Taiwan.
Okay.
So people who live in Taiwan, they can purchase this book through the website. And in China, this is the same context and the simplified character.
Yeah.
And this is a different title, but the same context. And also we have a link for people.
So different website address, different links to order the two different versions.
Yeah, but this book is recently published in the US.
Okay.
So people can purchase this book through the Amazon.
Got you. Currently, the version is only in Chinese language. Would it translate into English eventually one day?
Yeah, actually, all the content was originally written in
English.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my goal is to have this mindful circle life education in every classroom, every family. That's my vision for the books. And then there are 2 more books are coming, which will focus on thought, emotion, and love and compassion. So so I hope this book can really change our education system right now to let more people know how important to guide the children to have happy life.
Okay. So thank you so much, Su Wen 老师. Today I really enjoyed this talk with you, and I learned so much from you today. And I believe that people need to learn the importance of mindfulness in the lives of children, parents, and educators and entrepreneurs like myself. So may we learn to focus, manage stress, regulate emotions, and develop a positive outlook as we navigate through life and business. So as the founder and president of Just Wish Foundation, I would love to make a donation to your teaching, to your philosophy, so you can continue to expand your belief, your core value, your philosophy to so many people in the world. So I really enjoyed the talk with you today. Thank you so much.
And before we finish, I really want to say thank you so much for your donation. Because you don't just love your children, you love the children in the world. And I really appreciate. And we will use this money in the right direction. And then let's do together, hope the children, our family and school have a better world today and tomorrow.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
If you need anything in the future from me, I'm 1 phone call, 1 text away. I'm here to help you. Okay?
Yeah, you already have been doing
Thank you
so.
so much.